Welcome back to Hoops History, where we dive deep into the stories that shaped the NBA. We're stepping into the time machine, back to 1967, when one team did the impossible. They didn't just win a championship, they smashed records. I'm talking about the Philadelphia 76ers, led by the one and only Wilt Chamberlain. By the end of this video, you'll see why the 1967 Sixers deserve a seat at the table with the greatest teams of all time, like the 96 Bulls or the 17 Warriors. First, let's set the stage. It's 1967. The NBA's a gritty, no-nonsense league. Only 10 teams, no three-point line, no private jets, just hardwood and heart. Picture smoky arenas, short shorts, and games where flopping would have got you laughed off the court. But one team ruled it all, the Boston Celtics. They had won 8 straight championships from 1959 to 1966. Bill Russell, Bob Cousy, Sam Jones. These guys were unbeatable, a green machine that crushed dreams year after year. But in Philly, something was brewing. The city was hungry for a title. They hadn't won since 1955, when they were the Syracuse Nationals. Enter the 1967 Sixers, a team stacked with talent, led by a 7-foot giant who was about to rewrite the script. This wasn't just a basketball season. It was the 1960s, civil rights battles, cultural shifts, and the NBA was still fighting for mainstream attention. No ESPN, no highlight reels, just radio calls and grainy newspapers. Yet, the Sixers were about to put on a show that would echo for decades. Alex Hannum was named the new head coach for the 76ers during the offseason. Hannum was the last man to coach a winner before the Celtics began their run of consecutive championships. He replaced Dolph Chase, who had been the head coach the past 4 seasons. Let's talk numbers. This team finished the regular season with a record of 68 wins and 13 losses, winning about 84% of their games, the best in NBA history at the time. They didn't just beat teams, they crushed them, averaging 125 points a game in an era without three-pointers. They started the season with 46 wins in their first 50 games. They led the league in scoring, shooting an insane 48.3% from the field, best in the NBA. This was a juggernaut. But it wasn't just stats. This team had heart. They played with a chip on their shoulder, knowing every opponent wanted to take them down. And at the center of it all was a guy named Wilt Chamberlain. Now, Wilt's a legend, but that year he was on another level. He averaged 24 points, 24 rebounds, and 7.8 assists. Chamberlain's 8 assists per game set a record for centers and made him third in the NBA behind only Guy Rodgers and Oscar Robertson, and once again leading the NBA in rebounds. Shooting less, he made a league record 68% of his shots. This wasn't the Wilt of the 100-point game chucking shots. This was a team-first Wilt, passing out of double teams, setting bone-rattling screens, and dominating both ends. But Wilt didn't do it alone. He had a talented squad to back him up. This team was a masterpiece of talent and chemistry. Hal Greer, a Hall of Fame guard, was their sharpshooter, dropping 22 points a game with a silky jumper. Chet Walker, another future Hall of Famer, gave them 19 points a night as a versatile forward who could score from anywhere. Then there was Billy Cunningham coming off the bench with 18.5 points and 7 rebounds. Add in role players like Luke Jackson, a tough-as-nails big man, and Wally Jones, a pesky defender, and you've got a roster with no weak links. This wasn't a one-man show, it was a symphony, with Wilt as the conductor. What made them special was how they played together. Chamberlain could have scored 40 a night, but he trusted his teammates. Coach Alex Hannum built a system where everyone ate. Fast breaks, crisp passes, and relentless defense. They weren't just talented, they were unstoppable. The playoffs were where the 67 Sixers cemented their greatness. In the Eastern Division semifinals, the Philadelphia 76ers matched up with the Cincinnati Royals, who were led by Oscar Robertson. They dispatched the Royals in 4 games. Next up was the defending champions, the Boston Celtics. For years, Wilt had battled Bill Russell and came up short. The Celtics were his kryptonite, winning title after title. But in '67, everything changed in the Eastern Division Finals. The Sixers faced Boston, and they didn't just win, they dominated. They took this series 4-1, including a 140-116 blowout in Game 5 in Philly. Wilt was a monster, averaging over 21 points, 32 rebounds and 10 assists a game in that series. He outplayed Russell head-to-head. The NBA Finals were next against the San Francisco Warriors, led by a young Rick Barry, who was dropping 40 points a game in the playoffs. It was a battle. Game 6 came down to the wire, with Philly winning 125 to 122. Alex Hannum, who had led the St. Louis Hawks to the NBA title in 1958, became the first coach to win a championship with two different franchises. Wilt proved he could win as a team player, silencing critics. And they did it in an era with no sports science, no private jets, just raw talent and will. So, there you have it, the 1967 Philadelphia 76ers, a team that broke records and broke barriers. They're not just a footnote in NBA history, they're a cornerstone. Wilt Chamberlain, Hal Greer, Chet Walker, Billy Cunningham. They built a legacy that still shines. Here's my question for you. Where do you rank the 67 Sixers among the greatest teams ever? Are they top 5, alongside the 96 Bulls or 17 Warriors? Or do they get overlooked because of the era? Thanks for tuning in to Hoops History. If you love this deep dive, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more NBA history. Until next time, keep ballin' and keep learning.